The Big Ten West is bad. And I know what you're thinking. Mark, the Big Ten West has always been bad. What is the big news flash? No, I mean that the Big Ten West, even by Big Ten Western Division standards, is bad. It's going out in a blaze of glory. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, do all those good things to help us continue to talk college football with all of you. All right, let's look at the Big Ten Western Division historically against what's going on this season and in 2022 as well. The Big Ten West is on quite a run against the rest of college football and going out, yes, in a blaze of glory because we know that Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA are on the way, and the Big Ten Western Division will, as it currently stands, be no more for the betterment of us all. Actually, to the betterment, not necessarily of those teams, though, because they're going to have to play teams with pulses more often, much more often. And we've dissected the schedule and what it should look going forward in other videos. But let's focus on the here and now and the recent past and what the Big Ten West standard has been versus what they have been able to do. Yes, recently. It is not pretty, even by Big Ten Western Division standards. The perception across the country is the Big Ten West plays a lot of defense, but that defense is usually accelerated by the awful, woeful, boring, plotting offenses, and I've had to stick up for the Big Ten Western Division, and we will do so a little bit here as well because in totality over the 9 division years that the East has played the West is better top to bottom than you would think. However, it just never produces an elite team, and right now is striving, scratching, clawing to try to produce even a good team. Look at this showing by the Big Ten Western Division this year in 2023. Wisconsin lost to Washington State. Minnesota lost to North Carolina. Those are two really good football teams. However, the Big Ten continues to lose these kind of games, the Western Division at least. Duke Northwestern, of course, Duke's a good team as well. Purdue lost both of its matchups outside to Fresno and to Syracuse. Nebraska was bludgeoned by Colorado and just run off the field. Illinois did not show up against Kansas. They were down 34-7 in that game before they made a meager attempt at a comeback. The two wins for the Big Ten Western Division this year outside the conference that are of any kind of meaning: Iowa beat Iowa State. Hallelujah. And Purdue beat Virginia Tech. We're talking about Virginia Tech, one of the worst, very worst teams in the Power Five. And yes, in 2022, we had similar results out of these same teams as Wisconsin lost this 2-game series against Washington State, even though they were the favorite both years. And we see more losses by the Big Ten Western Division against outside opponents in 22. Even Iowa lost to a Iowa State team that could only manage one win in the Big 12. And you might be saying, Mark, it's always been this way for the Big Ten Western Division. Well, that's not necessarily true, and we always strive for the truth and the facts here at the Voice of College Football. So let's give the Big Ten West its due, where it has earned it throughout its 9-year history. Let's look at the Big Ten West versus the East. What do we have here? Well, the East, of course, has won every single solitary championship game, 9 straight since these divisions were formed in 2014. In those games, the Big Ten Eastern Division has produced 7 college football playoff teams, and the Big Ten West has sent nobody to the playoffs. Wisconsin came close. Iowa came close. We'll talk about those teams. Listen to this. In these 9 playoff games, the Big Ten East has outscored the West by 179 points. That's 20 points per game. Those Big Ten Eastern Division teams typically really good because there have been 20 New Year's Six teams out of the East and only 4, 20-4, looking at New Year's Six teams. However, when you add it all up together in the competition between the East and the West during the regular season, when you think about it, when you look at all the teams in the West, everybody's been pretty good at some point at least. Even Purdue winning the West this past season. Even Northwestern with 2 Western Division championships. Everybody has taken a turn at being decent. While, of course, the East is all about elite play at the top, some really good teams, and then Indiana, Maryland, and Rutgers have really way down the East when you compare total games, because the East has only won 13 more games in the regular season than the West in the competition between the two conferences. So over the course of each season, it's pretty much even, top to bottom, 1 through 7. But again, look at the top teams. There have been 25 ranked teams during these 9 seasons from 2014 through 22. Out of the East, only 15 for the West. And then when you, again, hike the standard to top 10 teams, the East has had 19, the Big Ten West, 5. And now top 5 teams, and I'm talking about the final AP poll, the East has produced 11 top 5 teams, and the West has produced none. But there have been some high points for the Big Ten West, and we want to give the division its due historically over these 9 seasons. In 2014, Wisconsin was the best team in the division. They finished number 13 in the country. They lost a close game against LSU. They beat Auburn in the Outback Bowl to finish 11-3. In 2015, there were some capable teams in the Big Ten West, and they won some bowl games. Iowa beat Pitt. Northwestern beat Stanford in the regular season, and that Stanford team was the team that rolled Iowa in the Rose Bowl. Wisconsin lost a respectable outcome against Alabama that went on to win the national championship. Wisconsin also beat USC in the Holiday Bowl in 2015. In 2016, of course, again, it's Wisconsin. They won the most notable games outside the conference during this time frame. They beat LSU, then the number 5 team in the country. They also won the Cotton Bowl over Western Michigan and PJ Fleck. Minnesota won the Holiday Bowl against a Washington State team that came in at 9-3. In 2017, it was Wisconsin, who, along with that Iowa team in 2015, came the closest in playing in the college football playoff out of the West. They lost to Ohio State by 6 points. 6 measly points. They came so close in getting the West to the college football playoff, and they beat Miami in the Orange Bowl to win one of the few New Year's Six games for the West. You had a Northwestern team that went 10-3 after they defeated Kentucky in the Music City Bowl. Iowa, Purdue both won bowl games, and the division in 2017 actually went 4-0 in bowl games. In 2018, Northwestern represented pretty well in the Big Ten championship game before getting stomped in the second half by Ohio State. Then they went out and beat Utah in the Holiday Bowl. And again, good bowl showing by the Big Ten Western Division. Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota all won bowl games as well for the division to go 4-1. In 2019, Wisconsin, they came so close to winning the Rose Bowl. They lost to Oregon in a heartbreaker, even though they statistically dominated the game, 28-27. Minnesota beat Auburn to finish that 11-2 season, and Iowa blasted USC in the second half to win the Holiday Bowl for that Hawkeyes team to finish at 10-3. So 3 really good teams out of the West there in 2019, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. In 2020, Northwestern won one of its 2 division championships and actually finished 10th in the country, a top 10 Northwestern team that also defeated Auburn in a bowl game, and Wisconsin beat Wake Forest. In 2021, the division went 3-1 in bowl games. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Purdue doing the honors there. In 2022, last season, the division respectable in bowl games at 3-2, with Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin posting wins. So get this, despite the mediocrity of the Big Ten Western Division and not raising the standard to elite play, not getting to New Year's Six games, not getting to a playoff at all, their mid-tier teams went out during postseason competition and did pretty well. Look at this. The Big Ten Western Division since 2014, 25-14 in bowl games and 21-8 in the last 29 bowl games. Give it up for the Big Ten West. But let's look at the other games. In Power 5 games outside the conference from 2014 through 21, 8 seasons, Big Ten West 59-44. That's a good showing, 58% winning percentage. But here in the last 2 seasons, 6 wins and 14 losses. There are only 2 lousy non-conference games left for this division to play this year. Northwestern's playing Wagner, and this Saturday, Minnesota against Louisiana. So I'm going to have to wait till the postseason of the Big Ten West to make amends. And of course, Let's think of the unthinkable here. The Big Ten Western Division possibly winning the conference championship game in Indianapolis. Who would have the best shot? I say Wisconsin, but I say it's just a barely puncher's chance against Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, whoever emerges out of the East. Big Ten West, it's been fun. It's been ugly, but it's been fun.